Hey everyone, I am at the NAWCC National Convention. This is in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it is amazing what I have seen so far. I've got a lot of clocks, watches for you to see, and some new stuff that literally blew my mind when I saw it. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, enjoy this. Thanks so much for watching.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are in the Mart room at the NAWCC National again. Seth and I, my name is John Cody. I'm on the board of the NAWCC. You can see that we've got plenty of great watches and clocks here. And we have a lot to see, but Seth and I have something that we think might interest you even more. So Seth, let's take a look at the exhibit room here at the National. I'm walking backward. Tell me if I'm ramming into anybody, Seth. We even have parts if you need parts. We even have supplies if you need supplies to clean or fix things. I've never walked backwards this far in my life. My calves are hurting. Let's stop. Look at the great people at our registration table. These are the people that make it all happen. Well, maybe not her. Just so you know, we're here at the Convention Center in beautiful downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we are entering the display room at the 2024 National Convention. This display is put on by some of the National Association of Watch and Clock Collectors specialty chapters. So let's start over here, Seth. This is something that has never been seen in history and probably will never be seen again. This collection from the British Horology chapter. We have some English watches. The English developed the technique of jeweling watches. People always ask me what jewels are for because watches are called 17 jewel watches. Jewels were put in watches by the English first. The jewels reduce the friction in a watch, which is a big technological thing that everybody wanted to do. And this is a great explanation of the evolution of jeweling of watches. Never been seen before in a collection like this. We have a lot of photomicroscopy going on here of an actual ladies' watch movement blown up so that you can see the jewels. Something that you probably only see here at the NAWCC. They have also brought in a lot of miniature English library clocks. Probably more of these than have ever been seen in one place before. So that's the British Horology chapter, chapter 159. Then we've got a chapter called Cog Counters. Cog Counters, the specialty chapter, is all about American wooden works clocks. And here's one opened up, Seth. That actually has some brass gears, but wooden plates. And next to it is a clock with just a brass escape wheel, but all the other wheels are wooden. And some of the earlier clocks were all wood. These clocks were made at a time when in the United States and America, they didn't have the means to make very many metal parts. Wood was readily available, and so they figured out how to make clocks out of wood so that they wouldn't have to import clocks from England. This chapter is all about these Wooden Works clocks. This is probably the most famous Wooden Works clocks. Eli Terry's Porter contract clocks. These were some of the first mass-produced goods made in the United States. Eli Terry got a contract for, I think, a couple thousand, I'm not a clock, for 4,000 movements made by Eli Terry. And really, this is one of the first mass production efforts ever made by industry in the United States. One of the best examples going of an Eli Terry clock, Porter contract clock. Then we'll move on to our carriage clock chapter. This is one of the things that I'm the proudest of at this show. We have a couple of gentlemen who brought most of these clocks all the way from Australia. They've been coming to these things in the United States for about 30 years, bringing different kinds of carriage clocks. I think these miniature carriage clocks, some of which are in solid gold, are some of the prettiest things at this whole exhibit, and many flew all the way here from Australia. Even though I don't collect them, I'm a member of the carriage clock chapter because I love the clocks, and even more than that, I love the people in the chapter. And that's one of the great things about the National Association of Watch and Clock Collectors, is just getting together with your friends in the business. Come down here and we have the Tower and Street Clock chapter. Basically, we call this public time. Have a lot of pictures of tower and street clocks. It's public time because these were out in public a lot of times before people had their own watches, so that people could know what the time was out in public. Here we've got a beautiful tower clock, street clock movement. In the United States, some great companies like Seth Thomas and E. Howard made some amazing large timepieces, very heavy duty, so that they could sit up in a church tower or something like that, exposed to the elements and not be serviced for several years. And they're heavy duty. They have 1 second beat pendulums and keep amazingly accurate time. And then last but not least is the chapter that's the nearest and dearest to my heart, the wristwatch chapter. And most of these are actually my watches. It's an exhibit of chronograph wristwatches. And the theme is, chronographs were tool watches. They're a watch with a stopwatch incorporated, and they were meant to time events. So they are tool watches. But in the 1930s, starting with Breitling, Willie Breitling knew that he could sell more watches if he made a more luxurious version of the tool watch to sell to wealthy people who were in the horse racing business and needed to time that, or the yachting business, or doctors who timed people's pulse. And so what we have here is a group of the tool watches and their luxury counterparts. Sometimes their luxury counterparts were basically the same watch, just in karat gold. And sometimes they were a tool watch like this Omega Speedmaster down here, which is the same reference as the first watch that walked on the moon. And Omega's answer to that in a more formal watch was the Omega Seamaster. These are from the late 50s and early 60s and still run like brand new. I like watches and clocks, but I like watches because they're smaller and I can If you have 100 clocks, it takes up your whole house, and if you have 100 watches, they fit in a cigar box. And Seth, that's our story, and I'm sticking to it.
So hey, I'm at the National Convention for the NAWCC, and in the craft room, this is where people make custom clocks, watches, just incredible craftsmanship. And I've got two beautiful clocks to show you today. This first one is a double Fusi skeleton clock, and it is made by William McCoy. And it is absolutely stunning. It is beautiful. Notice the pinwheel escapement. And then later I want to show you, he even has in the hand, he has his name in the hand. So just some really exquisite craftsmanship here on this clock. And then on my left, this is a very unusual clock. And one thing, look at this, the way this is operating. And then if you'll notice on the dial, the second hand has a continuous sweep. And that is because look at this gear back here with all the tiny teeth. And so it is giving that second hand a continuous sweep. And then moving down, I like unusual clocks. I've never seen one like this before. This was made by Ron Nollet out of Vermont. And so in the craft room here, people enter their custom clocks and watches, and even some artwork I'll show you later for competition. And it's just really cool to see the quality of work here in this. So enjoy these pictures and video. Thank you. So here I am wearing a VR headset, which took me inside a 3D model of a huge tower clock movement. It was incredible. And I got to learn about the software that made this possible, Chronospedia. Professor Konstantin Protasov, forgive me if I pronounced that wrong, flew all the way from France to share this with the NAWCC and is looking for collaboration. They work to preserve horology and convert antique clock movements into a 3D file, which will be preserved for decades to come to help save this historic knowledge. And he's also put this into a free online encyclopedia that you see here. Right now, the website is only in French, but I believe an English translation is coming soon. Check it out. It's easy to navigate their website and view these clock movements. Chronospedia.com. I hope you enjoyed seeing this short tour of the National Convention. If you're not a member yet, please consider joining because you're missing out. There were so many amazing watches and clocks that I didn't even show that were present at this event. And just meeting the people and the wealth of knowledge that's here is just incredible. So you should definitely consider joining the NAWCC if you haven't. Oh, one more thing. I will have a special video coming up. This is an exhibit I was totally unprepared for. This blew my mind, what I'm going to be showing you in my next video. So stay tuned for that, and thank you for watching.